Hello and welcome to another episode of Brewery Towns, the podcast that talks about brewing beer throughout the country. In this episode, we head to Tonopah, Nevada. It is halfway between Las Vegas and Reno. It is a very small town, but we will talk about the breweries that have called it home, and we will talk about some of the interesting saloons there that have existed and still exist today. As always, remember to check us out on Facebook and Instagram to stay up with our latest episodes. And now, another episode of Brewery Towns. Welcome to another episode of Brewery Towns, the podcast that talks about brewing beer throughout the country. My name is Matt, and I am joined today by Cecilia.
Hello, guys. How's it going?
So where are you calling in from?
So I'm in my house, in my room, quarantining like everyone should be.
and how long have you been home?
It's been a while. I mean, it's been, this week and last week maybe?
Yeah, it's like...
I have been, 2 weeks. I've been going out to the park just to run and maybe to walk the dogs, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think me and Tex and Lady, we're going to stop going to the park. It's been so crowded. At least at like 5:30. It's just, but we're going to go a different way and just avoid the crowds.
That's a good idea, yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about a city today that is pretty much all suburban, but we're going to talk about Tonopah, Nevada. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I've heard of Nevada, but not...
That's good. So it is the county seat of Nye County, NYE, and it is... So if you picture Nevada, it's pretty much a rectangle with one corner sliced off, and it's a straight line at an angle.
Right.
So this city is pretty close to that line, and it's right in the middle of it.
Interesting.
It's not near anything. It's halfway between Las Vegas and Reno, but each of those cities are about 3.5 hours away.
Wow. Isolated for sure.
Yeah. So population, it's going to be one of the smaller cities that we do. It's only about 2,500 people.
Gosh.
I know. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Its nickname is the Queen of the Silver Camps, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into the history.
Such a balmy name, like such an awesome name for such a small little place.
I know. I do. It would make a good T-shirt to have that, like a Queen of the Silver. It sounds like a band.
It does,
Queen
yes.
of the Silver Camps. Nice indie band.
Right, yeah.
So the hometown, we like to do this each episode. So this is not where these people were born, but they lived here for a certain time. I have two for you. One is Barbara Graham, and she is known as the Butcher of Burbank.
Oh.
And she is only one of four women to ever be executed in the state of California.
Wow.
Yeah, so good. Huh. And then the next one gets better. His name is Andrija Markovic.
Okay.
And he is the only person ever executed by shooting in Nevada.
Wow, very pleasant people, I guess.
Well, this is a mining town, so it was probably rough when it was founded, and it probably didn't get too much better until recently. But before we get into that, I just want to have a shout out to Muse, M-U-Z-E News, and Travel Nevada, which is where most of the information from this episode came.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so let's go back to the year 1900. Now, this area, no one was living in there, but a prospector named Jim Butler came by the area, and I'm going to tell you the legend of Jim Butler here. So he went looking for a burro, which is a donkey, that had wandered off during the night, and he sought shelter near a rock outcropping. Now, when he discovered the animal the next morning, he was really pissed at it, so he picked up a rock to throw it at the donkey in frustration. But when he was doing this, he noticed that the rock was unusually heavy, and this rock was just a very small part of the second richest silver strike in Nevada history.
Oh.
So I don't know if that legend's true, but it's
an interesting legend.
It's a fun story. Yeah. So the area was originally called Butler County or Butler City until 1905 when it changed to Tonopah, and Tonopah is a Shoshone word that means hidden spring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
So, because it's a small town, we're going to have to really dig deep for the information here. But we do know they did have one pre-prohibition brewery. It was called Weiland Brewery. It was founded in 1901, so pretty early on, and it was actually the first permanent structure and business in the city.
Wow.
I know, isn't that amazing? Like, a brewery was the first permanent structure and business in a city.
Out of everything else.
Yeah, I know. So, I guess...
Well, it's kind of like... Yeah. So, I don't want to go off topic, but, like... Yeah. So, in Houston, right, one of the things that's considered essential, like, businesses that should be running is those alcohol stores.
Liquor stores?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was like, what's the word? Liquor stores. And you're just thinking, like, really? That's an essential business that should still continue to run?
Yeah, I've been really surprised by some of these so-called essential businesses. It's pretty much like everything besides for like a need. Or it's everything that you need. It's nothing that you want. So, like, not like salons or like massage parlors, like amusement parks, but it's a lot of essential businesses.
Right, quote unquote essential.
Yeah. Okay, so there are two possible owners of this first brewery. One, it could be John Weiland, which is what the brewing company was named after. He was a gold miner and beer baron from San Francisco. He actually started the Philadelphia brewery in San Francisco. It's a little bit confusing. But if we ever do a San Francisco episode, he would probably be involved with that. He died late in the 1800s, but his family continued the brewery, and they started to buy up some of the local breweries.
Okay.
And I put this in there because his company established a bottling works in Reno, which, as we said, wasn't too far away from Tonopah. Right. Now, if that's a little bit of a stretch. I'm not sure if that's true. The one that you will find online is that the brewery was owned by a man named Harry King, and this will interest us as historians, I guess we can call us. Harry King added a parapet, which went on top of the building in 1902, and because this building still stands, they know that by 1902 there was a local stone craftsman in the area.
Huh.
Yeah, so they can still get information about this building that relates to other parts of the history of the town, which I think is pretty cool.
That is really cool.
So let's see. So the building's still standing. It was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1982, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Okay, so that was the only pre-Prohibition brewery. I have no idea. It probably closed a few years later when Prohibition came, but because this was a mining town, there were a boatload of saloons. So by 1902 there were 32 saloons in town, but there were only about 1,000 people.
Wow.
It's crazy. But if you think about that, these people were single miners, probably from Europe or from other places in America. So when they were done working, what did they want to do? They wanted to go to the saloons.
So, like the legend, right? This guy just finds this silver rock, right? And then that just kind of, fuels people's heads and think if I go west to Nevada or wherever, I can find, gold and strike it rich, especially if you're an immigrant, right?
That's right. So, yeah, mostly European immigrants, and then there was low water quality, too. So I think that kind of helped people drink more alcohol.
Of course, right. Clean water. Come on.
Yeah, it didn't exist back then. So another business I wanted to highlight is the Tonopah Liquor Company. They were founded in 1906. I'm not certain if they actually made liquor or if that was just their name. So outside of Houston, there's a place that's called a beer company, but they don't make any beer. They actually don't even have any taps. It was kind of a crappy little place, but their name was the City Beer Company.
Huh.
Yeah, so don't know, but they were across from a building called the Mitzvah Hotel, which was built a year later, and it was actually Nevada's tallest building until 1929. So Tonopah was happening back then.
Wow. Okay.
And I just put this in there. I know it has nothing to do with brewing, but I put this in there because I know we were going to do this episode together, and the Mitzvah Hotel was voted the most haunted hotel in America.
Ooh.
I know.
That sounds exciting.
I know. So, I mean, it just signifies that the place was happening. In 1910, the population peaked at 10,000 people, which is fairly significant. I mean, if you think it only has 2,500 now.
Yeah, so it was at its peak at that time. Wow.
Yeah. So the Tonopah Liquor Company, it has a white stone facade, and it has, if you look at a picture of it on Google, it has a door on the second floor, but there's no balcony. So it looks very haunted too, this building. So it was also added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1982.
Oh, so there's a lot of history.
Yeah,
it's just not
a little mining town.
Yeah, these mining towns go through these bust and booms, especially in the early 20th century.
I know, it's. I think it's so fascinating that a city could have thousands of people, and then a few weeks later, just no one.
It dwindles down. Yeah. One of my things, I know this has nothing to do with it, we'll get back to it, but I would like to visit one of these ghost towns and just go film it and just kind of experience the loneliness of it, I suppose. I don't know. I'm a weirdo.
Well, you know who you might run into there.
Ghosts? No, I'm just playing.
you might run into the new indie rock band sensation Queen of the Silver Camps filming their new video.
Never know, right? Maybe.
Never know. Okay, so Prohibition came in the 1910s. I don't have an exact date down here when Nevada passed it. But the city started to decline during that time, and then it led into the Great Depression. And then the mines were closed quickly after that by World War I, and they never reopened despite several attempts to get them back open. But the 1910 was probably the peak, and then it's just been kind of going down, and now it's a status quo there.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get into some of the modern history. So Tonopah has a test range that opened in 1957. It's actually known as Area 52.
Oh.
I know. I knew
cool.
you would like this part too. So Tonopah is about 70 miles northwest of Area 51. So because of the close proximity and because it's a test range that they have tested nuclear bombs, they tested stealth attack aircraft too. So there's also this aura of maybe alien technology, in this area.
Totally a place I would go to. Probably just go to Area 51 and then drive all the way up there, maybe.
Yeah. I'm sure there's nothing in your way. I'm sure it's a beautiful drive. If it's only 70 miles, I bet the speed limit's 90 too. You could get there in a half hour.
Exactly.
So that was a big thing that happened. That was 30 miles outside the city. Obviously, they can't be testing bombs in the city, but known as the Tonopah Test Range. And then in 2014, this project called the Crescent Dune Solar Energy Project opened. And this is cool. You should really Google this. It's a $1 billion solar energy storage technology project.
Wow.
Yeah. So you might not know what that is. I really didn't either. But if you look at a picture, it's pretty much thousands of mirrors, I believe they are, and they all are focusing on this central obelisk-looking thing. And
so it's called, Crescent Dune?
Crescent Dune Solar Energy Project. And it just looks so freaking bizarre because all these mirrors are just in a perfect circle, and they're all just pointing to this central receiver, is what they call it, So I think that's what its purpose. Instead of just having a bunch of solar panels, they all face this central receiver. I don't know too much about how solar energy works, honestly.
I'm looking at a picture now. That looks pretty cool.
I know. It's really interesting. I don't think it worked because it's now closed.
Oh, okay.
So there's $1 billion just down the drain.
Just down the drain, yeah. Oh, that sucks.
I know. Could you imagine? Just rolling up on that.
I mean, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder what they did. So they just left their solar panels there?
Yeah, that's what I want to know too. I don't
Like,
I have no idea. Literally
donate them or sell them. I don't know. Try to get some money back.
Well, what happens to the company? Where are they, like, in $1 billion debt now?
Oof, I don't know.
So, glad we're not in that business.
Right.
Glad we're in a business that doesn't make nearly enough money to ever be in debt.
To even reach that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's get back to brewing. In 2014, the Tonopah Brewing Company was founded. And it was founded by a couple. Their name is Fred and Nancy Klein. They are a pretty wealthy couple. They manage the Mitzvah Hotel, which is now a running hotel and restaurant. But they also own 2 wineries in Sonoma, California. They own 2 other farms, I guess, in Northern California. And they own one, they call it a luxury villa in Tuscany, Italy.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
People.
They are, and I'm sure they're definitely on a lot of boards.
I'm in the wrong business.
I know. Yeah, they have a lot of money. Let's see. Oh, so you would think, maybe they got this. Maybe they did this brewery just because they were bored and they wanted, like, a little project. But but Nancy's great uncle Harry Ramsey actually owned the first saloon in Tonopah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so they have ties. Yeah, ties to the area. So it's not like these rich people just came in and, like, let's, like, make this town our project. They actually have a little history there.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Okay, so if you look on Google Maps, I have not been to Tonopah, but if you look on Google Maps, in front of the brewery is a really large pickaxe, which looks really cool. And they promote the working man theme because it was a mining town. And their slogan is blood, sweat, and beers.
Wow,
I like that.
Pretty cool slogan. Yeah.
I'm sure other people have that slogan, but it fits well with these guys.
It fits with the town in general too.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna try to explain something to you, and it might be I might get lost. You might get lost, but we're just gonna try it.
Okay.
Okay. So in their brewing system, they have copper kettles that were custom made in Bavaria, Germany. And the kettles allow decoction and step infusion, which was used in traditional German brewing. So I'm going to attempt to explain to you what decoction is.
Okay, good.
Okay. This is going to be a journey.
All right.
So decoction is a type of mashing process. You know, all in brewing, all beer has to be mashed. Now, a single infusion is when you do a mashing one time. A step infusion is when you do this mashing process multiple times or has multiple steps.
Okay.
So decoction has a step infusion process. So in a single infusion, you heat it to a higher temperature. In the step infusion, you heat it to a lower temperature and you just do it multiple times to get the same result. So it's kind of like you could either cook eggs for 2 minutes at a really high temperature, or you could cook them longer for like 10 minutes and you would get the same result.
Right. Okay.
So its history dates back to traditional Germany, when the brewers had to get the most out of the malts that they could, because now the malt is modified to help us out, obviously. And the reason was they think that doing this decoction gives you a more desirable malt characteristic. It's one of the, when you taste beer, that's sometimes what you taste.
Okay.
And it was used with German styles like Pilsners, Bocks, Lagers. And the example that this one article gave was Pilsner Urquell. Have you ever had that?
No, I have not, no.
You'll see it. I'm sure they sell it in H-E-B, and they have it at a lot of bars. But it's from the Czech Republic, so next time you have that beer, just kind of taste that, and then if you haven't...
Wait a minute. Oh. I've had one Czech beer. I just don't remember what it was called.
You might have had this one. I off the top of my head, I honestly can't name another Czech beer. But if you ever see it, just give it a taste and think of decoction. Okay. So that's why they do it. Other brewers see this process as a big waste of time and money and energy.
So not a lot of companies do that. Not a lot of beer companies do that.
No. You'll probably see a lot of them in Germany,
Right.
But I don't think a lot over here in the States do that. And if you want to learn more about this, I got all this information from byo.com. It's a funny name.
Okay.
It's brew.
Yeah, it is.
It stands for Brew Your Own, and the name of the article was Decoction Mashing Techniques. It's a really long article. I just tried to read through the first couple paragraphs to get that information.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I learned something new.
Yeah. I never knew of that before.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so the brewmasters, the first man that was a brewmaster there that was using this system was Lance Jurgensen, and he spent 10 years at New Belgium Brewing, which is in Fort Collins, and Pigeonhead Brewery, which is in Reno. And then the next brewmaster was Richard Weathers, and he's actually the executive chef at the Mitzvah Hotel.
Okay.
And obviously, because they have this system, they make a lot of European ales and lagers. Their Mucker Irish Red got a 3.44 on Untapped, and they try to use the same flavors that were served to the miners by using local ingredients, which is pretty cool.
That is really cool. I wonder if what the immigration was. I wonder if it was mostly German or mostly, I don't know, Czech.
I don't know either. I don't know if I could find that on there. I don't know. I think just everyone went out to see if they could strike it rich. I don't know if there was if they settled out there in towns. I don't know.
I guess money talks, right? Anything you can. Everyone goes.
Okay, last thing here. That's the only brewery in town, but I just wanted to point out the Tonopah Liquor Company is open again. And the new owners actually saw an ad on Craigslist for someone to buy the place, the building, and to fix it up and to open it back up. So that's what they did, and they moved to Tonopah. And on the walls inside, they actually have images from the Central Nevada Museum, which is located in Tonopah. It's probably one of their bigger attractions. If you go there, you can also go to the Tonopah Historic Mining Park. And if you wanted to stay the night in Tonopah and you didn't want to, put out the money to stay at the Mitzvah Hotel, you could stay at the world famous Clown Motel.
Oh.
Located in town. Yes.
That's strange.
Yep. Definitely Google Street this one because the rooms look like normal hotels, but the outside is very disturbing. Just lots of bright colors and circles and like clown outlines and just like a bunch of madness.
Yeah.
Are you looking up now?
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Is this called Clown Motel?
Yeah, just type in world famous Clown Motel Tonopah because I'm sure there's multiple world famous clown motels. Well, while you're doing that, I'll just finish with Tonopah here. The liquor company produces liqueurs and mixes. They actually have over 100 whiskeys at their bar, and they do, according to their Facebook page, they do like lots of trivia to get like the local community in there.
Okay.
Did you find it?
I did. Yes.
Isn't it really really freaky?
Yeah, I have like this like it's not red. It's like maroon with like all of these dots.
Yeah.
And on the walls, so like when you're like I guess passing through it, it's gonna really stand out.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
It's really sick, really twisted. Okay, so we're gonna leave this episode by talking. I know I teased it earlier, but we're gonna talk about 2 of the hauntings at the Mitzvah Hotel.
Okay, cool.
So, 2 of the hauntings. These hauntings are actually not at the Mitzvah Hotel. They're at the Tonopah Liquor Company.
Okay.
Okay, so one, his name is George, and he hangs by the pool tables and, according to them, makes a bit of trouble by regularly turning on electronical accessories and pulling corks out of bottles.
Wow.
Yeah, so he just seems like he's having a good time.
Yeah, he's like just drunk, like he's a ghost.
Exactly right. He is drunk. If I'm a ghost, I would like to be George. And then this other one, it doesn't seem scary, but it's creepy. Her name is Hattie. She is a spirit of a girl who used to work upstairs, so I don't know what that means. A girl, like as in, I guess younger girl. That's so scary. Yeah. He used to work upstairs, yeah, and she loves interacting with children.
Oh, that's even creepier.
That's the creepiest thing in like horror movies when there's a child involved.
Yeah, it's like a child comes up to you. Don't you know Patty? Or did you say Patty?
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Like they're Hattie. Yeah.
The parents are like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
If my child ever says that when I have children, I will walk away. I'm not even gonna get involved. Like, just don't stop. Just stop. Okay. Well, that's all we have on Tanopa. I know it's a shorter episode. We probably made it longer than it had to be, but I like doing these small towns just to prove that you don't have to be a big city or even a medium-sized city to have a brewing history.
That's true, and an interesting history as well. So
yeah, I agree, and I hope you liked it. For those of you listening, make sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram to keep up with our new episodes, and stay tuned we got something coming out soon. So stay tuned. Yeah, and Cecilia, hopefully we can do another one soon.
All right, sounds good. All right.
All right, we'll see you next time on Brewery Towns.